Hello team, Brian here, and today I'm going to take you through an introduction for the PowerConnect to Cribl integration. We've been supporting the Cribl integration for probably 2 years now. Today's Monday, December 18th, 2023, and there's been a few questions on how to actually implement the PowerConnect data endpoint configuration going into Cribl or specific. So we're going to review what the data structure looks like, the HTTP event collector data format, what the API should look like. We're going to use Postman to review what that looks like and how it's configured. Then we're going to take a quick review of the Cribl platform. We're going to use our internal Cribl cloud for that. Then I'll showcase the configuration in PowerConnect, which you have to look out for. And then I'm going to jump back over to Cribl to show you what the data looks like and then how to manage Cribl Stream to route the data to whatever endpoint may come up in the future. So first things first, right now I'm going to jump over to Postman. And so Postman is a tool used to design, build, test, validate APIs. And so in my workspace here, I want to draw your attention to the fact that the HTTP event collector uses a post method of the REST API. And it uses port 8088 by default within the Splunk indexer. And the specific call goes to services/collector. So everything after the colon is the most important thing to remember. This is pretty consistent regardless of what you're going to do and where the indexer is hosted, or if it's an actual Splunk heck or if it's emulated. We'll get into that in other episodes. So like you can create your own heck endpoint even though it's not Splunk. In this case, this is an unencrypted, so it uses HTTP, and it's going to an EC2 instance. This is a test EC2 instance that I had in testing out the API. And so this format here, you want to save this over time so you can remember which part is going to be the metadata that's standard for a Splunk event, and then which part is that raw data. And so all of your data, so like coming from PowerConnect, will be stored within the event value field in JSON format. And so it's rolled into that JSON format. So you have a series of child arrays within the data element. So your first series of key value pairs, source type, index, the host, and then the event, and then within the event value, right? This is where you begin to see your event field value pairs. So foo would be the field, bar would be the value, B would be the field of the array, and then you have rolled in multiple values there. So PowerConnect data can get quite verbose, but it will follow this pattern explicitly regardless of the data set. So the next thing you need to know is that the headers are very key for authorization. And so the key value pair within the message header for the post, key is going to be authorization. The value is the API token. All right. This API token is pretty typical for other tokens that you would see in web integrations, with the major exception that all Splunk tokens are preceded by capital S Splunk and a space. Okay. This part this gets a lot of people confused in PowerConnect. So the PowerConnect software actually programmatically prefaces all API tokens with Splunk space. So the user only inputs the API token. right? So when we get into the PowerConnect admin console, you don't have to type in this part of it here. If you're using a Splunk uploader class, you don't have to do this. It'll programmatically insert this into the message. All you have to do is apply the token. That's it. Pretty straightforward. Okay, let's review what Cribl is and why it is really, really easy to send data to. Okay, so I'm going to jump over to our Cribl Cloud subscription here, and the specific product that we're using is Stream. So Stream is what you use to route data or to apply transformations to data in flight, reduce it, redact data, all the things Cribl's known for, and everything everybody loves about Cribl is handled through Cribl Stream. So we have a very basic implementation here. A single worker group, it's still called default. And so if we click on this one here, Splunk HEC, this comes out of the box with Cribl. It is turnkey, right from the factory basically. And we'll click on this one here and look through it. And the general settings are just like we saw in Postman. Okay, the port is defined, right? So we see 8088 again. And then we also see the HEC endpoint services / collector. So these need to pair, okay? When you're testing an API, you can mess with these, but PowerConnect will explicitly send to 8088 service / collector. Okay, so the keys here are server-side authentication. And if that's the case, we need to then review certificate uploading, right? So if they're going to use server-side authentication, then those certificates, right? So op.criblcerts, and the customer is responsible for all of this. They will have to provide that certificate to you so that you can import it to S-Trust. This will be a customer defined configuration. They just have to figure that part out. It's, if they're using Cribl Cloud, then this is 100% going to be mandatory. If they're using Cribl on-prem, right, they house it internally or like within the SAP network somehow, then it may be not. So now we're going to bounce over to SAP GUI. Log in. And for this one, we're going to log into M75. It's the only one that we should be putting Cribl endpoints onto. Go into the management console for PowerConnect, go to Administrator, Connection Setup, and Upload Scheme. We'll hit Enter. And now, this is PowerConnect 8. I recommend they upgrade to PowerConnect 8 before doing any of this, just so everything's consistent. What you'll see on PowerConnect 8 here is we have some new fancy stuff like a Dynatrace uploader class. We have Elastic Stream, so really neat stuff. Exclusive to PowerConnect 8. The original uploaders are still here, right? OMS, and then specifically Splunk HEC. So for Cribl, right, because in Cribl we are emulating a Splunk HEC receiver, we're going to use a Splunk HEC uploader class. It's that simple. So let's take a peek at the configuration here for Cribl. If you remembered, the name of our Cribl stack was Wonderful Lovelace. Okay, and we see the RHONDOS pipeline. We see that it's currently up. So what's interesting here, right? You may have caught it, you may not have, but you'll see access settings with an index declaration of main. So this is pretty neat because I didn't cover that. But as you declare the index of main here on the PowerConnect, you can actually declare that index over on the Cribl side. We'll take a peek at that when we jump back over to Cribl. Same thing as before for any kind of setup. Create your name, create your host. So this is going to be that endpoint. There are differences in the versions of Cribl that customers run. for how this preface will be. The latest version of Cribl that we're running, in.main default dash wonderful Lovelace, or the technology stack. That has changed over years. Declare the index. Main is actually not fine. We should probably stay consistent with SAP. But here's the trick, right? Going into Cribl means it's going to go somewhere else, which means whatever that final destination is, all of the index fields are going to get wiped out, replaced, removed anyway. So this is just something that needs to be consistent between Cribl and PowerConnect. Actually doesn't affect the solution. So as long as this matches Cribl, customer's going to be fine. And finally, that token. So that token here, you'll see that there's no Splunk preface, and that's because PowerConnect will programmatically add Splunk to the front here. Horrible handwriting, but there you go. You get the idea. And that's it. That's as simple as it is. It's identical to a Splunk configuration, and that's because Cribl's gone forth and done all the effort to create a data receiver that is exactly like Splunk.